got mail. Good morning, everybody. You are tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next hour or so, along with Nick.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, too. Our number is 561-518-9773, and today's show is made possible by Vimix Software and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair of Live Streaming Gear. Gal is away, and Spence is away, and Katie got a cold. So, and it's probably going to be a slow show.
We shall push through.
Yeah. So, what did you do yesterday?
Just typical 4th of July activities. Little drinking, little eating, little swimming. Typical 4th of July stuff. It was hot as it has been and was hot as hell.
Was it? I don't think it was hot where you are as it was here.
I mean, it was in the mid to upper 90s.
Oh yeah, it was over 100 here.
Yeah, I mean I don't know what the they do the real field temperature or whatever.
Yeah, they said that the index was 108.
Yeah, let's see. I can look at
over here, but it was on the gauge it was 102, 103.
Yeah, I'm looking at
outside.
My gauge from yesterday.
And that's in the shade under the roof.
July
it was
4th. So my high at my house, which is not not necessarily the most accurate station in the world, was 96.6.
Yeah,
was the high. So it's been hot.
Well, at least it's supposed to be going away tomorrow.
Yeah,
starts to go away.
Well, it's not really here. I'm looking at the 7-day forecast here. 96 every day next week until Friday and Saturday, which is 98 and 98.
I'll take 96. I'll take 96.
I need to cut my lawn. It's out of control, but it's been so damn hot. I just have not wanted to go and do it. So I'm gonna have to bite the bullet and probably do it.
A couple more days wouldn't make a big difference. It's
fine.
The
problem is it doesn't look like it's a couple more days. It looks like it's going to be a whole nother week. So,
well, I mean, what is it in the morning?
Yeah, I mean, it's still. It's 82. Yeah, I'll have to do it at like 8 or 9 o'clock.
We had 70s in the morning.
This week it was in the 70s, but it's already 82 here at a couple minutes past 9. So, but again, this is not a complaint. It is summer. I'm loving it. No, this is not meant to be a complaint. It just more of an observation than anything else.
Yeah, it's summer and it is hot.
Yep, I'm fine with that. My air conditioning and my utility bill are not necessarily fine with it, but
that's okay. I mean, to pay another $100 to stay comfortable is fine as long as the AC doesn't break.
Yes. John's got a great idea. He says just get a sheep. I guess I could. I don't have an HOA, so I could get a sheep to graze on my lawn. Great idea, John.
Why will they not allow? Or does the?
Well, there's probably some county ordinance about. I don't know. I'd have to look.
That's interesting.
Well, I mean, most of these places there are ordinances. I mean, there's always the big discussion over chickens because a lot of folks like to have a small little chicken coop or pen.
No,
so
but you don't mean buying sheep to put them in there. I mean,
that's what he's saying. Get a sheep. You have to have a sheep.
Yeah, but you can rent them for 2-3 days and let them.
No, but they need to be there all the time to just kind of level it all out. It's a constant thing. You know how much it would cost to rent a sheep at like every week and a half or 2 days? That would be out. It would cost a fortune, I'm sure.
Farmer Nick.
Yeah, exactly. If I didn't have it, like I didn't have any, like I didn't have enough free time to do stuff. We'll throw that on the other than the pile of crap that I don't have time to get done.
Oh. So what's been happening tech-wise?
Trying to think tech-wise. This week was a busy week in the state. The state passed a budget, so I was pretty consumed with that this week. Been doing a lot more AI programming with Cursor, getting a little project I'm working on up and running. So that's been cool. It's interesting. Being able to instruct an AI agent to do what you having the background knowledge of what I want to do and how I want to do it has been incredibly helpful in this process. I would imagine if I didn't know anything about what I was doing in terms of the process and where the data comes from and stuff like that, that it would be a much more difficult task, I would think. Because I'm frequently having to correct the agent and say, no, why are you getting the data from here? Like we've already established we can get the data from crawling this page. Why would we add another download, another import of data to get something that we can already extrapolate from what we already have? So that's been interesting. It's essentially optimization at that point, kind of. So that's been cool.
All right. There was where is it? Talking about AI. Students are using AI-powered smart glasses to cheat on tests.
I'm sure they are.
And in East Asia, test-obsessed societies where a single exam could impact the trajectory of a student's future career and social status, educators are scrambling to get ahead of the problem. Already, countries are stepping up inspections for test takers. For China, grueling annual college entrance exam earlier this month, which more than 10 million hopefuls take each year, authorities require screening of all glasses. I was thinking about it in class. In classes, and I've never had one of those smart glasses. Don't know anybody that does.
Before you continue with that, they're surprisingly affordable. Like those Meta Ray-Ban glasses. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's not, but they're only like $300. Like we're not talking about shelling out $1,000 to $3,000 or $4,000. We're talking about a couple $100, which I think, that's much more accessible. I mean, you're not getting a brand new smartphone for $300, but you're able to get these the Meta glasses for a relatively cheap cost, which makes sense why they're everywhere.
So put your thinking cap on. How would a student cheat using the glasses?
Well, you would have it. And now you're talking about what's going on over in China. So I don't know what kind of. I would imagine that the Meta glasses are not in China. I would assume it's somebody else's brand, but you would have it. You would have it be reading what's. There's cameras on either side of the lenses, so you would have it depending on what the test is. You'd have it reading look at a math exam, read the math problem, read the math question, and then just answer the question. If that's the kind of test that it is, it'd be no different than you taking a picture of the exam with your phone and loading it into ChatGPT and say, solve this problem. The Meta glasses can essentially do that.
That's my point. So now, you still depend on the internet, on connectivity to be able.
Some of these tests might be being taken on a laptop. For all I know, I don't even know if these are physical tests. So yes, absolutely.
I mean, I'll go back to what it used to be years and years ago when the internet started with shopping and merchants were doing something. It was a lot of them didn't know it was illegal. Jammers.
The jammers. Yeah, the problem with the jammers is if these tests are being taken digitally, you can't jam.
Yes, you can.
How?
Wire them.
These tests, yeah, that's not practical though. Most, I would assume, if it's like when I was in college, and again, we're talking about what's going on in China. I have no idea what their system is set up. You're taking your tests on your own device.
Yeah.
I mean, most colleges now, I don't think most. I would assume every college now requires you to bring your own device. You have to purchase a device.
Okay, so if you are on your own device, you can cheat anyway. Why do you need the glasses to do it?
Well, because I'm sure they're looking at the screens to see what you're doing. And many of these things, they're digitally proctored. So, for example, you would, and this is this is even the case now. You join, it's essentially like a Zoom call, and there's a digital proctor that is watching your screen, making sure that you're not going off and doing doing other things. So if you can do this stuff with an external device like a pair of glasses or a phone and not get caught, most of these proctored exams require you to have a camera on your face and then a screen share of what is on your screen. The phone obviously isn't going to work. The only thing that could would be the glasses.
Yeah.
It starts to create a real problem.
Hannah was here and when they were talking something about on the news about it, and she was saying that like she works at Deepak and they have shows, and comedians and I can't remember what there's a company Yonder. Yonder is you go into a concert and they make you put your phone in a bag that is sealed.
If they're recording like a special
Correct.
for somebody, like a Netflix special or Amazon special.
And she said that now with the glasses, there's no way to control it because
Correct.
they don't know. She said that there was one comedian, I can't remember who had a squad, and they had infrared glasses that they would walk around in the audience, and if they see any flickers, then they'll go and they'll take away the device.
Yeah, but like you can see this, like even through, if I hold up my phone.
Yeah.
Oops. You can see the pulsing.
Correct.
The pulsing. That's the face scanner trying to detect my face.
Yeah.
So yeah, you absolutely could do that.
So
that's the solution.
Yeah, I mean it's becoming a problem. I mean and we're not talking here about countries spying. This is local stuff.
There's always been cheating. There's always been ways to get around testing. I mean, this is nothing new. The technology is just different. I mean, you'd write the answers on the person in front of you's neck. You'd write the formulas. You'd write stuff on a pencil. You'd write stuff on your own arm and wear something long sleeve, a sweatshirt, and roll your arm up. I mean, it's not cheating on that stuff is not brand new. The way it's being done obviously is far different, but it's not. The inherent problem is nothing brand new. And there never has been a solution. There never will be a full on and all solution.
See my camera going out every now and then.
Yeah, maybe your converter's dying.
Yeah. I remember 50-some years ago when I came here, I always wondered, what do you mean you take a test online? If you take a test online, you open the book. You can open a book. Nobody knows, and you find all the reasons. And a friend of mine who's a professor was saying, Amnon, it's fine, because if you have to go and look for the answer and you find it, you just learned something.
There's some truth to that. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of, I didn't have the full year. I didn't do a full 4-year college program, but many of my exams and tests and things were open book. I mean, it's a relatively common thing. It's when you get into like certifications, like if you want to become a realtor, you've got to go through and take a bunch of exams. That stuff is heavily proctored. It's mandated by the states. There's licensing to go through. Attorneys obviously have to go through the process of passing a bar exam. There's plenty of other professions and things that, I mean, hell, even getting obviously it's not to the same level, but you have to get a ham radio license. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
You have to go through and take a test. Now, obviously, that is a far different set of standards, right? You're not necessarily using your ham radio license to potentially hurt somebody else. If you BS your way through a realtor exam and you're a crappy realtor, you can end up hurting a potential customer. Lawyer, same thing. Crappy lawyer, BS through the bar, somebody ends up rotting in prison because of you. So it's a little bit different, but yeah, it's always been an issue, and a variety. There's always been a way to manipulate that environment. It's just for $300 you can do it with a pair of Meta glasses. $379 for the Gen 2 Ray-Ban headliners from Meta.
Wow. Okay.
I've thought about getting a pair. I just can't really justify it for what I'm doing right now. I work from home. I don't really.
Yeah.
I'm not at this point. I'm not like I'm in Raleigh walking through the state capitol or doing. I'm just my glasses would be me sitting here staring at my computer screen for 9 hours a day or whatever amount of time I sit here.
All right. Let's switch here. Video Game History Foundation founder Frank Gifaldi recently supported claim that piracy is the only effective way to preserve video games.
Yes.
The comments lay the blame squarely on game companies' refusal to keep legacy content available or allow archivists to build legal repositories. Sony's announcements that all PlayStation games will be digital only from 2028 onward has sparked concern that titles will become harder to preserve and more easily vanish, since the company's servers will become the sole point of distribution. In an official statement, he noted that the end of physical PlayStation games has surprisingly little impact on the foundation's efforts, because the majority of games from the last 2 decades are already digital only. But yeah, I mean, you can't buy something and put it on the shelf and save it.
Well, there's a couple of different things here. Yes, losing the physical stuff is a problem. But what is not mentioned in this article is that most games that have been built and developed in the last 10 years are what are called always online, meaning that there is some sort of server that you are having to contact. And so the problem is not that you can't preserve the physical game itself. The problem is the company, and it's not, these can be relatively small companies. Eventually, they shut the servers down, which is logical, right? You're not going to keep the expense of running a server 10 years after a game has come out and nobody's playing it. Once that server is shut down,
that's it.
You can have the game. It doesn't matter. There's nothing to do because it requires that always online connection. That's the big problem that I see right now.
So what kind of piracy are they talking about that will solve that?
There's no piracy with that. You have to hope that, and some smaller studios have done it. They have made after the game has hit its it's lifetime, it's life. Some of these developers will release the server code open source. They'll dump it on a GitHub repository so that individuals can spin up their own server and keep it alive. It's obviously a small community of people that do that. But that only happens for like smaller indie games. Major studios do not do that.
Interesting.
And there is no solution. I mean, once the server shut down, the server shut down. But to the bigger, I would argue the bigger thing in what you brought up was the announcement this week that Sony is going away from physical games on disk drives. Makes total sense. For the longest time, the physical disc has meant nothing. You go and you buy one of these games, and the second that you put it in your Xbox or the second you put it in your PlayStation, there's a 40 to 60 gigabyte download, which is essentially the game, because the version that they minted on the physical disc is not. It's essentially a spinning disc with a license key. I mean, that's essentially what it has become, because you're just downloading the game from a server, and the disc is your authentication key, which makes no sense. There's no reason that there's no reason to have a physical disc just to say, yes, I can play this game. You can much more easily, much more quickly, and much more effectively do that with a digital download. If I was GameStop, this is the end of GameStop. Once there are no more disk drives in the Xbox and PlayStation, which is soon, there is no room left for a GameStop at Walmart and Target and all these other stores that have video game sections. All of that stuff goes away like that. And then there's just going to be a couple little gift card kiosks, and that's going to be it. So
interesting.
It's the end of that. And of course, then you can't share something, which is a problem in itself.
So there's really no way for you to, I mean, if there's a game that you really love and you want to keep on playing it, like the old days when you stick a disc in and it will load the whole game.
Well, it depends on what it is. If it's a game that's single player, then yeah, you're good forever. If it's a game that requires a server to do something, it's a multiplayer game, yeah, eventually those multiplayer servers shut down and you're SOL.
And there are games that are single player?
Yes. Yes. There are, I would argue a lot more are
multi.
There's a lot more multiplayer than there is single player.
Okay. All right.
So it's an interesting time in the video game landscape for sure.
Nick Allen put something in the chat. I don't have
All
any.
Right. Alan says, a few weeks ago, you guys helped me with a slow booting Asus laptop. The problem found showed me a few things, but I was still dumbfounded on the rest. Norton 360 boot scan revealed it. Cabinet files are corrupted. I now look at the challenge ahead. I don't know that I was on the show when that discussion happened, because that doesn't sound familiar to me. So
I have no idea.
Fortunately, I don't remember that discussion taking place. It was probably a week that I was gone, Alan. If you throw some more context in the chat, I can try and work through it.
All right. For those of you that missed last week's announcement, Microsoft has quietly extended free Windows 10 security updates for consumers by another year, pushing the extended security updates, the ESU program's end date from October 12, 26 to October 12, 2027. So we have another year. Just keep in mind.
Well, and I think, the big reason for this is the chip shortage that is still existing, and going and buying excuse me, buying a new computer right now is exorbitantly expensive.
Yep.
Even quote unquote cheap, like spec wise, even cheap computers are expensive. And so it makes sense that Microsoft has had to do that. I mean that they're just nobody can. There's a lot of people that don't want a new laptop, and now it's just totally cross prohibitive to do so.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. We also talked last week about connectivity and staying up and all that. So it says that Spain will require mobile networks to have backup systems that maintain connectivity when power outages occur. Per a royal decree that will be approved by the end of 26, mobile networks operators and infrastructure companies will need to install batteries or other backups to keep service active for at least 4 hours during a blackout. And I was reading this and I said, oh, yeah, this is why I dumped Spectrum. Spectrum, even though now they have a battery inside their new modems that supposedly will keep it up, what doesn't have a backup is their connecting points.
Yeah,
like the box.
The boxes that you see in people's yards and on the streets.
Correct.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
And the minute power goes out in the neighborhood, that's it. Spectrum went down. So yeah, you can connect to the box, but nothing happens.
Yeah, I've been fortunate here. AT&T, and I don't know if it's that they have a lot of passive equipment that's in these cabinets or what the deal is. The last couple of times, and these have not been widespread power outages, AT&T has stayed up. Now, none of the outages have been super long term. I don't know how long that will be. But that's why when we were talking about backup internet last week, I was stressing heavily a 4G, 5G backup solution or a Starlink solution, because that is the inherent problem with any physical connector is, if it's a really bad storm that knocks out the power, there's a possibility that a fiber line or a coax line or something also gets knocked down.
Yeah.
I have been in the situation being in Wilmington during Hurricane Florence back in 2018, I think it was. It's been a while now. The issue we had there was all of the cell phone towers had, or most of them had, backup generators. The problem was they lost their backhaul connection. Yep. So you had a bunch of towers broadcasting service with no service. So it was, which was a terrible situation. I wish AT&T or Verizon, whoever, had a system where if utility power is out and we're running a generator, but we don't have any data, shut off the transmitter, because the problem was I was connecting to these cell phone towers with no data, when I would have much rather had a 1 bar from a tower way further away that I could trickle data through.
Right.
I was getting served from the closest, aka best tower signal wise, but there was no data there. And so that was a huge problem. And so everybody's prone to it, especially with a big natural disaster. I mean, that's really where this becomes the conversation.
At the time when I was using Spectrum, I also had AT&T, can't even remember what they call it, the slower speed. That's 384. Shoot, what did they call it? Never mind. And they had a box across the street. And when the power went out, theirs kept on running. And a few hours after that, after the power went out, a truck came by with a trailer full of generators. The guy got out, started a generator, connected it to the box, and went on his way. And 12 hours later, another truck came by, filled up the generator with gas.
Yep.
Or diesel, whatever it was. And I think it went like that for about 4 days until power came back. And I was very impressed. Later on, when... What?
Before you keep going, I would suspect that you were in a unique position for that. I would imagine not everybody had that same experience. I think that's very region dependent. You live in a major metropolitan area.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay.
I'm not saying that can't happen elsewhere. I feel like your experience was maybe abnormal. Possibly. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm completely full of it.
I don't know. I couldn't care less back then.
You've been in this business long enough to know that that's not a normal thing that happens.
It's not. This is why it was very impressive.
Yeah, exactly. It was not the norm. It was the exception.
Later on, when fiber became available, I remember talking to some people about it who know more about fiber than I am. And every one of them said, that does not happen with fiber. Fiber does not need that power to keep on. It stays up. And
it
that's
gets
the truth.
The light comes from the central office.
Right.
The physical fiber is just is light. Yeah.
So now,
but I would imagine that there are not repeaters. There's got to be some. I would assume that there's some electronic equipment
that require
between CO and your house. I don't know. I'm not a fiber tech. I would imagine there's something in there, a power booster, something. Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know either. But I see where you're going.
Right. There's got to be. You would assume there's some electronics somewhere in the chain. How pivotal those are to operations, I don't know. I've been fortunate. We have not had a major hurricane since I've had fiber, so I don't know I don't know what's going to happen.
What's going to happen?
Widespread
We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of the situation. I just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, since the fiber been never lost connectivity because of power. So that's interesting, though, that the country there, I mean, for 4 hours. What is that? I guess it's better than nothing, but I don't know. Okay, Nick, you want power?
Of course. Well, hold on. Before you move, and this is a good reminder for folks that have this kind of question. Get a small UPS for your home as well to keep your modem, your access point, and your other sort of networking equipment online.
Yep.
All that's great, but if you don't have your home equipment operating, that can create and do not rely on an internal battery from Spectrum or AT&T. Get a physical UPS. They're relatively cheap.
Yep. But talking about power, startup Ampera has unveiled what it calls the first 3D printed nuclear reactor module. Built around a silicon carbide core and pressure vessel designed for a thorium-based microreactor. The company says future system could deliver 15 or 30 megawatts for up to 30 years without refueling. When the Register, the newspaper, asked about availability, their spokesperson said, "We expect the power generation portion of the system to be available as early as 2027, with the nuclear module being available to customers about 2030. based on regulatory approval. 30 years, 15 to 30 megawatts. Wow.
That's that is the perk of nuclear in the long term.
Yeah. That's a neighborhood. I mean, nobody needs that in their backyard for their own house. But that's great for a neighborhood, a bunch of houses. And of course, businesses. And again, it depends also what it's going to cost. At that time, I believe that Duke Energy is going to charge thousands of dollars a month for electricity. And this will become, hey, yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe finally a reason to have an HOA, the management of a nuclear power grid could actually justify its existence.
Yeah. So it's
SMR technology is the future.
Yeah,
it absolutely is. Anybody that tells you otherwise has got their head buried in the sand or is in just total denial.
Yes, it is. All right. Amazon says its LEO satellite network now has enough spacecraft in orbit to begin limited commercial internet service, with 396 satellites providing continuous service across initial latitude. Early performance will likely be uneven, however, and well behind Starlink. It'll be years before Amazon can boast similar performance numbers as it continues to launch a planned 3,232 LEO satellites. I'm wondering what's going to happen with space travel, not space travel, but space exploration, when NASA is going to have to use some kind of a penetrator to go through that layer of all these little satellites in orbit.
There's a lot of coordination that has already gone on with that stuff, and it's going to have to continue because their event, and I don't say this lightly because it would cripple our communication. There's always been the theory of a major satellite
outage
disaster, where not an outage, a disaster where you've got dishes that get in the wrong place and it creates a major pile up, like a car pile up of these satellites, and what damage. I mean, fortunately, geostationary stuff's in fine shape. It's this low orbit stuff that SpaceX and now Amazon is doing, where if you saw one of these major backups, it would cripple the entire satellite network.
Yeah,
I'm sure that there are full-time people at NASA and at SpaceX and at Amazon that their living is doing the math, doing the calculations, and trying to prevent something like that from happening.
Only time will tell. It'll happen. It will happen before something will be done.
Well, there's already a lot of coordination that goes on.
Right.
There's a national group or an international group that does this coordination, and so there's a lot of. You can't just willy-nilly put up a satellite in orbit.
Amazon says it is ending side loadings on new Fire Sticks because apps that facilitate piracy and other apps can carry malware, adding that there is a good amount of evidence that side-loaded apps may contain unwanted code or behavior. However, the company did not provide specific examples of Fire Stick users being harmed. So we don't know, is that just something they're trying to sort of like prevent users from doing because they want them to go through their app store, so to speak? or really there is something there in what they're saying.
I wonder how much of this is privacy or piracy prevention kind of stuff.
But that's what I mean. Yeah.
I saw, did you see the story? Do you have it in your notes about the Zapier box?
The who?
Zapier, I think is what it's called.
No.
Not Zapier. Damn it. Hold on a second. There was a story I saw it this week. The TV box.
No, I have not seen
streaming that just got blasted.
Because they were allowing.
Yeah, Amazon stopped selling it. Damn it! I'm trying to remember where I saw this. Maybe it was on.
But people that want to do it, they always find ways to get those boxes, those adapters.
Well, and you can buy them at, like, if you go to swap meets and some of these like large large kind of yard sale things. There is always a guy there that is selling these. It's called the Zapier box, Zapper. The story is July 3rd. Amazon has pulled listings for a popular next-gen TV device over unsubstantiated and unfounded concerns that the box enables live television piracy, according to multiple emails reviewed by the desk. The situation has plagued BitRouter, the developer of the device, for several weeks, with no explanation as to why the certified next-gen TV devices have been removed from Amazon's store. So, some interesting stuff going on with these things, because the boxes themselves are not the problem; it's the side loading that is the problem.
Yeah, but I mean, those boxes are actually kind of made for that purpose.
Not I wouldn't say so. I don't think the Amazon Fire Stick is made to be a piracy device.
No, but I'm talking about the ones like that Zapier.
No, this one is not. This one is meant to be a next gen television tuner.
Oh,
but unfortunately, because all of these things run some level of Unix or Linux, it's very easy to replace whatever sort of code is running on it to modify and access all of these live TV channels.
Oh, okay. All right. AI. The Godot Foundation will stop accepting AI-authored code. Agents submitted pull requests and AI-generated text in contributor communications after maintainers were overwhelmed by low-effort submissions. It is time for us to recognize that these problems aren't going away, and therefore we need to take steps to reduce the burden on maintainers while ensuring we still have a pipeline to mentor new contributors to become future maintainers. Contributors may still use AI for limited, menial things if they disclose it, but humans must understand, own, and be able to fix the code they submit. So if you submit something and they say, hey, there's a bug, and you say, oh, and you don't know what to do even, obviously anybody can use AI to write a program, even if you're not a programmer.
That is kind of what I was mentioning at the beginning, where I am not a programmer by trade. I've got enough knowledge to be marginally dangerous. That is where somebody that's even got some rudimentary programming experience and even not even necessarily understands the logic, understands some of the best practices and things like that, you are in a far better position using Cursor or Claude or some other sort of AI programming agent versus the regular layman who just says, I want to build me a program that does this.
Yeah. It's And I can see I can see a problem there.
It's a huge problem.
Yeah.
Especially when you're testing, you're running I'm not saying that there's necessarily something malicious going on, but you can be running code written exclusively by an AI agent by somebody that doesn't have any sort of understanding of programming, and that could be fine. It could also be a problem. It's kind of a crapshoot. It's very unknown.
Oh. And Meta is reportedly developing its own cloud business that could sell access to its AI models and lease data center computing capacity to other companies. The move would put Meta in direct competition with Amazon, Google, and SpaceX. So they're trying. I mean, they're not doing it yet, but they're trying.
It's worth exploring.
Yep.
May make sense, may not make sense.
In another Meta story, a federal judge rejected Meta's bid to dismiss claims from 29 state attorneys general alleging that Facebook and Instagram were designed to addict children while concealing the harms. The judge found significant factual disputes that must be decided at trial. They also ruled that Meta failed to comply with federal parental notice and consent requirements for children under 13 and granted summary judgment to the states on that issue. And there was a story a couple of weeks ago that Meta is trying to lobby the government to shield them from these things.
Yeah, I mean, no question about that. I do have a problem with the first thing you said, where the argument is. Can you read the first sentence? You said they were developed explicitly for what?
You in this story about
your opening line was something about
a federal judge rejected Meta's bid to dismiss claims from 29 state attorneys general alleging that Facebook and Instagram were designed to addict children.
So right there.
Yeah.
Designed to, I mean, there's the, and I actually just watched it in the last couple of weeks because I saw a clip from it. The Facebook Zuckerberg, the Facebook movie that came out, I don't know, probably in like 2010 or 2012 or something like that. To say that Facebook was originally designed to addict children, I'm not saying that's not what they're doing now, but that claim of when Mark Zuckerberg, a college student at, where was he at, Columbia or somewhere like that, when he developed Facebook, the intention was to addict children is kind of absurd. Now, you might say now that's the case, but initially designed to do that, I think is total nonsense, personally.
Yeah, I mean, it was when it was developed. I mean, back then,
it was for college kids.
Yeah,
explicitly listed for college kids.
That was not in 2010, by the way.
No, the movie came out in 2010
or
2012 or something. Yeah. I'm trying to remember what it was called.
I still remember
the Social Network is maybe what it's called.
I don't remember. All I remember is sitting at 850 The Buzz in the studio, Spence and we were discussing this, and he said, "There's a company called Facebook."
Yeah.
And it's for students only. And we're trying to figure out what they're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's called the Social Network, and it came out in 2010. Pretty good movie. So yeah, that part kind of bothers me. But these companies, they do have a major problem, and it's kind of interesting because, like, we look at, like, you would never say that like CBS or ABC or NBC, you would never say that they are producing shows that addict you to want to come back and watch every week, right? Because that's kind of an absurd claim. That's kind of what Facebook and these other social networks are doing. I mean, they're providing content to keep you engaged. And now it just happens that you can do that literally 24/7. There are privacy concerns. There is a big problem with minors on these platforms as well. It is a position I do not envy the position that they are in. It is a tough one to be in, for sure.
Did you ever hear about a company called EchoStar?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so EchoStar's satellite pay TV unit, Dish DBS, has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. That's coming from Reuters. The move also applies to its wireless subsidiaries, according to the article, and facilitates the wind down of Dish Wireless's 5G network's operations following an unexpected delay in spectrum license sale to AT&T. Apparently, they're a Dish network like Dish. Pay TV through a satellite, but they're going away.
Yeah, I mean, the original EchoStar was a pretty revolutionary satellite when it was launched back in.
I've never heard the name.
You've seen the logo. If you look up EchoStar, you've definitely seen the logo. Now, it's important to note they're filing for Chapter 11. That does not mean that
they're not going.
Dish is going away.
Right.
Sling TV is a subsidiary as well. Boost Mobile. So these companies and brands are not going away. They're simply restructuring their debt.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, EchoStar was the first in a lot of things that they did in the 90s.
Let's see what else we have here. AOL is in the news.
Well,
the owner
they shut down their dial-up. Was that probably about what 6 or 8 months ago? They officially did that. I think we talked about
the email. I thought
the dial-up.
Oh,
service.
okay. No, the story goes, the owner of AOL and other tech businesses hit Wall Street with a $1.7 billion initial public offering Wednesday. The company is getting $1 billion in proceeds, while the rest is going to shareholders. The stock surged 39.7%, and what they're giving a market value. And among the company's well-known holdings are the event creation and ticketing company Eventbrite, and the video hosting service Vimeo. AOL itself went public in 1992 and was a vanguard of technology and communications. It reached a market value of $164 billion in 2000.
Hold on a second. Give me that number again.
What? 164 billion.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to do a quick inflation calculator.
Shortly before merging with Time Warner. It then crashed along with the rest of the industry following the bursting of the dot-com bubble. It has been bought and sold several times over the last 2 decades. So what is it today's value?
That would now be in the ballpark of $319 billion. 164,761,904.76 in May of 2026 for $164 billion in the year 2000.
You want to, like they say at Harris Theater, do you want to round it up to?
Yeah, exactly. So we'll say a cool $320 billion if using. I mean, it's it's amazing. I haven't seen it quite to that extent, but you're talking about a literal titan of industry in AOL. I mean, every business that was anything in the 90s and 2000s had AOL keyword. I mean, it was a whole ecosystem, and it's just gone. And
yep.
For the best, I'll note, because they had built essentially a walled garden. The AOL was not the internet. They had built a walled garden for their own stuff, and that
a lot of people thought that
suitable.
Was the internet.
Yeah, and it seemed like it was,
yeah.
but it wasn't entirely the internet. It was very much
right.
a walled off area.
All right. It's a healthy chat going on.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on in there.
Yeah. Okay. It's that time of day.
All righty.
Anything you want to add?
No, I don't think so. Yeah, no major tech stuff, or no major lessons learned this week that I can report on. Maybe next week.
All right, Nick. Well, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hopefully everybody had a great 4th of July weekend, and
keep celebrating that 4th.
Will do.
You're going to the beach today?
No, I was outside all day yesterday.
Oh.
I need to chill out and relax a little bit today.
All right. Well, thanks again, Nick. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Donna, Katie, Dina, Mati, Eleanor, Sarid, Yaakov and Yael, Gal, Spence. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. And change any same passwords wherever you use them. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. Monday through Friday, 5 to 6 a.m., Nick hosts the Carolina Journal News Hour on WBT 107.9 FM and on YouTube. So you can just go to YouTube and search for the Carolina Journal News Hour. And Monday through Friday, 7 to 8 a.m., Nick hosts the Nick Craig Show at nickcraig.com. So go to nickcraig.com and you can get all the details about when and how to listen. Have a great week. Stay cool. We'll see you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com and DeltaForce.net.